Right, okay. So the next one of these sort of walkthroughs of how to construct one of these Shadows of Brimstone models is the Archive Guardian that came out in Adventures. Now it's an interesting one because it's actually effectively using the old Guardian from Targa sprue, the main sort of big sprue that comes with that. I think I've got it over here still before we cut everything out. There you go. That's the large sort of Guardian sprue that will let you build the original Guardian model, but it also then has an additional smaller sprue like this, which turns it into the Archive Guardian, which basically gives it guns and a different head. But it does mean some of those older parts in that sprue aren't needed. If you look at, I've laid out the older sprue there on the top, and there's basically 6 pieces that correspond to the upper arms, the bigger upper arms of the older model that you don't need. They get replaced by these basic bits down here for the guns and the head. So let's get into it. Where do you start? Well, like most of these sort of models, you start with the torso. There's 2 large chunky bits here. They've got basically, as per standard, if I try and hold it up a bit closer, you can see they've got these sort of the top, they've got little spurs that go into corresponding holes on this one. We're just going to put them together like that, and that'll be the torso. So just get on with that along the seams. All the little spurry bits, put them together with the again using this plastic cement glue. There we go. Fits together quite snugly, and there you go. You've got a torso now of the Guardian. Now, you know, you might logically think you now do sort of numbers 1 and 2, because so those after 1 and 2, so you go and do 3 and 4. You don't. I've got them in number order here. You don't do the next bits, which are the shoulder bits. Actually, you go all the way over to the legs and do the legs next, because, yeah, of course. Similarly, they've got these. This one's the one with the indentations in. This one's the one with the spurs in. So we're just going to put this together. Like that. There we go. Again, goes together quite well, almost seamlessly. Hold it in place for a bit like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to glue that to the torso, and we have to make sure we get its feet the right way around. So you put its knee, make sure you look for its knees. So you put its knees at the front, match up with the face on this guy, and you've actually got a little bit of, you see what I'm doing here, you've got a little bit of rotational movement between the torso and the legs, so you can do slightly different poses for each if you have multiples, or between the Archive Guardian and your original Guardian. So yeah, just glue there, place together. Okay, so that's now going to be the main. So it's going to be the main sort of bulk of the body. It's also we get to hang everything else off of. So next up is, well, you got a bit of a choice, but I'm going to do the fiddly bit first, which is I'm going to go for, there's some pipes. I mean, there's more, by the end of this, there's more pipes than there is in your local fire department. I'm going to put them, it's the ones that come on the front here on either side. I'm going to do those next because they're a little fiddly. Okay, so having done that, we now move on to the arms. There are effectively 4 arms, like everything in the Targa Plateau. It has 4 arms. There's a sort of 2 larger arm pair, so a larger arm pair at the top and a smaller arm pair at the bottom. There are 2 of them. They are almost, if I just show them up, I guess next to each other, they are almost identical. They're not quite. They've got an ever so slight, I can hold them in the right orientation, they've got an ever so slight different radius of bend of curvature on them. So I wouldn't worry about it too much though, as long as you remember that the larger parts, larger circle goes in the body, and the smaller circles where the whatever is on the other end of the arm is going to be. It doesn't particularly matter which way around you get them in. They will look fairly similar. One thing to bear in mind for this, of course, is that the upper arms are going to have the guns on them. So be prepared to make sure they are fairly well spaced out from the body. You can put the other ones closer in because they're only going to have like big grippy hands, but they're smaller, so you put them closer in. But yeah, make sure you give plenty of space for the guns. Of course, the advantages I've said a few times of using this sort of plastic cement stuff is that it goes tacky and then holds in place but not firm for a while, so you can, if need be, just bend them a bit to get it back into the right place. So just going to look. For me, they want the radius of the curvature of the arms that are different, pointing up, so we'll put that one in there. So into the socket with the glue, and then this one in there, making sure we've got it so that this sort of armour plating part of it is pointing up. Here we go. As I say, I might reposition these in a moment once I get to putting the guns on. But yeah, then the other side. Like that. Then we do the smaller ones in below. Same again, they're almost identical. I'm just going to go a quick check. It's ever so slight. Right, yep, so ever so slight difference of the bend in them. I say it wouldn't really matter too much as long as you put the larger ball into the body armour plating on the top. Here we go. Okay, so there you go. You've now got your four-armed Guardian. So far we've been going pretty much as we would be as if we were doing the Targa Guardian, ordinary Guardian. We continue for the moment. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to try and put the feet on. So there's two feet, and the one's got a flat hexagon style imprint in, and the other's got a slightly irregular hexagon. And basically what that basically sorts you out, so you know which one goes on which foot, and you can't get your feet wrong. Now that I've said that, I will of course inevitably mess this up. But anyway, let's put this in. Okay, that's on one foot. And is this going to be the right one the first time? Of course it is. It's almost like a dry run. I think one of the things to mention is probably actually at this point make it easier is that the one that is its right foot is the one that has some rubble on it, if that makes sense. Go in, there we go. There we go. You see the so the right one's slightly, its right foot is slightly larger because it's the one that's got some rubble already on the model. But they're in now. That will let it stand effectively on its own like that now. Yeah, done. Walk away. Not quite. So obviously we've got to do the rest of the arms and stuff. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the fists or gloves or whatever, gauntlets on the bottom too, because I'm trying to do the fiddly bits first before I put anything over the top of them. So yeah, this guy's going to have two fists put on these two bottom ones. And again, make sure you get them on the right way around. You won't want to put a left hand on a right hand. They are the smaller ones. They're almost Simpson-esque. They've got two fingers and a thumb. He says, there you go, two fingers and a thumb. So in that goes is his grabby hand at the bottom, and they're quite posable. So yeah, you can you like. Let's leave that one like that, and do one on the other side. Okay. Right, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to be careful because I'm going to just put those in. The next bit I'm going to do is there's like a shielding bit that goes on the top of those, an extra sort of gauntlet part. I'm going to do that next, so got to be careful because obviously these have only just been put on, so they're not anywhere near firmly glued. They're just slightly held on by a bit of tackiness, and it should be the smaller of the plates. The larger the ones with the upper arms, and they're not being used, so use the smaller ones. And the pointy bit, and I'll get them over. Look at that. The pointy bit basically is pointing back up its arm. So this should be this one here, like that. Okay, hopefully you can see what if I bring it up closer, you'll see what I just did. Just put a cover on that glove. This one over here without a cover, so I'm just going to put the cover on. Fell off. That's what happens when you try and show things off rather than waiting for them to actually be stuck properly. Right. Okay, try again on the other side, just holding that one in place with my finger as I go. Okay, there you go. So now both bottom fists covered up. So now I get to do the shoulder bits. So if you look on the top, there's some grooves cut in either side. On the top, that's where the larger shoulder parts go, and you'll see they're basically they're off centre. If you look where the grooves are is off centre. So if you put them in one way, it leaves it basically like sitting flush on the shoulder like that. If you try and put it on the other side, you can't get it all the way up because of the asymmetric nature of the model. So pretty helpful there for you. There's only one way to put these on, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. So we will put a load of glue down on each of these for the shoulders to link to. That's on that side. That's on that side. And hopefully you've done this right, like me. You'll he says, you can see you've got your little arm balls for your gun arms still poking out just underneath them. But yeah, as I say, you might need to adjust in a moment when you actually come to put the guns on. And that's it for the original Targa. So that would be, if you're going to make this, that one just doesn't want to stick. Let's put a bit more glue on. I was going to say, if you wanted to, you could, for instance, continue on and just make this into an old school Targa Guardian if you liked. But obviously this is the new version, which is the Defender. So we're going to, but yeah, the old school, we would just put the big fists on these arms, and then put the larger shielding on those, and then at the back is where you would attach the other hoses. But we're going to be doing something a bit different, I believe, in a moment. So there we go. That's the older Guardian pretty much. Now we're going to turn it into an Archive Guardian. So I'll leave that aside for a moment, because what we're going to do is going to make the weapons. You stay over there. Right. So the first one is like parts 1, 2 and 3 of the sprue. They come, again, they're some sort of peg and hole sort of arrangement on a gun, and then there's going to be a third bit that goes in it to make its barrel. This is very much reminiscent of your old school Games Workshop plasma cannons from 40k, this gun. And then the other one's a bit of a rotary affair. Yeah. Let's do that. Oops. Let's pick it up properly. Let's push it all together. Nice snug fit. Oh, he's fallen over. You stay there. So, and you can see where there's going to be, on a ball socket there, is where there's going to hand into the arms of this fella. And then nothing at the end down here, but that's where the third piece comes in. This is your sort of barrel piece, so I will say put the glue around that bit that is the insert. And that. And then make sure you get it the right way up. It'll only go in one way. And there it is. Here it is down the barrel of your gun. So that's one gun. Other one. This one is your rotary style one. Again, 3 pieces, 2 that go together in 2 halves, like that, with pegs in the slots, and then a barrel piece goes down the centre. So you push them together. There we go. And make sure you line it up right so it looks like so it should be a regular sort of hexagon firing pattern and a proper circle at the end. It's this one I find is a little looser. So there we go, a little nudging it into position. And then yeah, we again gonna stick a piece on the end. It's this one. It's a tiny little nozzle. Whoop, rolling around. It should go in one way. It's again, it's an asymmetric, irregular shape plug that goes in. So to land, so I'll hold it closer. So to get it square on in the middle, it'll only go in one way. Anything else puts it off centre. So don't worry about it too much. Can't mess that up. That's your 2 guns. Okay, so put our guns together. What do we do next? Well, the next bit is this. One of the other things that happens to this guy is the head is modified. So rather than the head that's sat there, sort of quite recessed, almost hunkered in, only a little bit above front of the shoulders, this gets a more pronounced one. And one way, the first way it does that is puts this piece, this sort of circular piece, over the top. Make sure I get it the right way up. He says, double checking. So, yeah, it's going to go on looking like that. You can see the shape of the indentation that's going to go on. So, okay, we will put him down, put the glue on the inside of this. Like that. And then push that into place there. So he's now got his new sort of head mount a little bit further forward. And this guy's also going to have a neck in a moment, but we'll just hold that there, make sure that's in place for a moment, and then yeah, we're going to put his neck in. This is where I start to question myself as I realise I've done this wrong. Yeah, so I actually realised I was right the first time. I was picking the right ones up, because what I now need to do is very gently, if I can, tease apart some of the pieces we've already done. And they don't really want to come, because they're going to be quite sticky, which is what I'm going to try. No, let's get... Oh dear. There you go. You do the dry run, you do it right, and then as soon as you try to get it on video, you get wrong. I've got to pull these. There we go. Pull it out. Why? Because I was right. These are the ones you don't want to put in, because I was looking at this the wrong way round. Typical me. in a rush. So yeah, pull these out whilst the plastic's still semi-molten. There we go. Right, what was my mistake? So my mistake was I was putting the hoses in the front because I was looking at the front. We can put his face cap back on. There we go, put his face cap back on. If nothing else, it's going to be an illustration of how even if you screw up with plastic cement, you can rectify your errors. And anyway, yeah, those ones that I was trying to fit in and didn't want to fit, and I was going, oh, it must be the other ones, was because they're the ones that go on the back. You do the back ones, you don't do the front ones. That's a silly mistake on my part, but yeah, there we go. That should go in that one in there, like that, and then that one in there, like that. Alright, back on track. Right, that's now in the right place. Quickly go at the front, those holes that we've got, that we put something in, that we now took something out of again. We're now going to put the new hoses in. So we want the bendy ones. And there's bendy ones, and there's not quite so bendy ones, more straighter ones. Anyway, you want the bendy ones, and they go from the little bits underneath the head there, you see, go from there into the bottom of the ones we just took out. So if you can just see what I'm doing, hopefully there. Come on. There, can you see? See, it goes from the headpiece there to the bit above the waist. Try and angle this right for the camera, a bit above the waist there, on both sides. So I'm just plugging one of those holes that I just had to take the wrong one out, and you can see I'm having to be very careful on this side because the things where I've placed its hands was very close to where that pipe now wants to go. There we go. I suppose it's a cable rather than a pipe. Anyway, done is done. It's now in. So that's 50% of my mistake rectified. So never second guess yourself. Right, the next we've got to do is the neck. So there's a neck piece with a ball socket, like that. It comes on the front, that goes on the front there. That is where the head's going to mount to. So we'll put that on. Like that. So you should now have see you've got a little jutting out headpiece. Sorry, neck piece. There, moving around off the camera there. And we then put the head on it. So the head is a much larger head than the original Guardian. You see it there. That's just going to go plop. So we will do that now. On that ball and the head. Just trying to orientate that head so it's looking a little bit more straight on. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so what I've got there is, as you can see, the head. Hopefully, just move a little bit more. You can see the head hopefully mounted on the neck. All we've got left to do is guns and the two remaining cables. So the guns, it's the plasma one on its left. So the big gun on its left. So that is going to go underneath there, onto there, which means the rotary one goes on that side. Alright, okay, so that's what we're going to try and do. But as I'm pausing here and going slow because it's whether they're going to fit around everything else I've done. The answer may be not quite, or maybe we get lucky and we get lucky. This one fits. No. So yeah, no manoeuvrings required there. It goes on nicely there. Is this one going to be as nice? Have we got it in the right place, or are we going to have to do a little bit of alteration? No. This one. So if you didn't like pointing up in the air would be okay, but no, it's not quite. So as I'm just going to move it, I realise what might be an idea is to move it slightly further forward. So I'm just going to very gently, hopefully I'm trying to get this in a place where you can see, very gently apply pressure on that arm. To gradually move the socket forward. So the gun will clear his bottom hand, which I'll gently pressure down a bit as well. Because at the moment the only way it's got space is if it starts pointing it up into the air, which is not really ideal. So yeah, we're just ever so slightly manoeuvring things to get it a better, more sort of natural angle on that gun. Hopefully without, snapping anything off. Right, there we go, that's better. Just manoeuvred all the arms around a bit on this side to give it the clearance and the position it needed to there you go, come in. Its guns was a bit more, looks a bit head to 09ish, very wide stance with its guns, but yeah, that's that. Right, so the last bit is we've got to do those last bits of cabling, and they come from the holes that I basically mucked up, and they come from there into effectively the back of the skull, inside back there. Right, so I was just making sure I could do this. Right, so also one of the things on these, if we look, you'll see it's one's got a tiny little dimple and one's got a tiny little hole in it. They will match together like that to come together underneath on the neck where we're going to glue it. So it's going to go in like that and then up, or in that and up. Okay, right. Just in case we still need it, put a bit of glue in there. Put a bit of glue on that side of that one. In it goes, and then this one goes in on that side. Right, now up and under the skull. Just move the skull a little bit to get him in and under. Come on. There we go. Underneath. Cool. There we go. So we can now see it's got its hoses, cables, whatever, coming in from underneath into the skull as well as onto the right place. Yeah, now correct cables in the correct place. Anyway, that is it now done. That is your Archive Guardian done. So you can stand in your Targa Plateau alongside your ordinary Guardian with this one with the extra big guns.